Someone emailed me the other day and told me that they stepped out of their marriage and committed adultery. Boy, I tell you. They want to know if their marriage can survive infidelity, if they can survive adultery. Well, the truth is, it all depends. Do I believe that a marriage can survive infidelity? Absolutely, I do. But I also know that most marriage won't survive it. And in this video, I'm going to share with you the one and only way that I do believe that a marriage can survive infidelity and get better. Let's have this conversation. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. I am Dorian, and this is Not Easily Broken. I'm going to show you a quick demonstration. And if you understand what I am about to show you, you will realize how serious adultery is and why it is a part of the commandment in the Bible. When you get married, both of you are one. Both of you. You see this? Both of you are one flesh. And the Bible tells us in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 24 that, "Wherefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one." This is what infidelity, adultery does. This is what it does. It rips the marriage apart. The covenant is broken and it's damaged forever. You cannot put this back together. It doesn't matter what you do, how you try to do it. It's never going to be the same. It doesn't matter. You pray, all that stuff. It's never going to bring this together like how it was before. The marriage as you know it has changed. It has shifted, and it's actually over. Now, if the marriage is going to survive adultery, you have to build a marriage. You have to put that aside, and you're going to start from here. You're going to start over, and you're going to have to build a marriage better than the one you had before. If you ain't willing to go to work, if you ain't willing to surrender your life to God, you ain't willing to forgive, you ain't willing to grow up and be the best version of yourself, if you're not willing to do the work and take full responsibility for what you did, you can forget about it, because you just trashed the marriage that you had. You just proved to your spouse that you are not trustworthy anymore. It doesn't matter whether you're not a serial cheater and something happened in the marriage and you stepped out of the marriage. The fact that you breach that covenant, it damages the relationship forever. Your marriage does not stand a chance until you determine that you're going to start over and do it for real this time. You cannot expect to start over where you left off. This is broken. This ain't old no more. This is ruin, but you can build it back. There's nothing to start over from. You're starting from the beginning. You're going to learn to love again. You're going to learn to trust again. You're going to learn to build and become better. If you ain't ready for that, I'm telling you, you can forget about trying, because it ain't going to work. That's why you're going to have to take responsibility for what you did and how you got here and try to figure out how to move from here. You destroy it when you stepped out of the marriage. And the only way you can rebuild your marriage, build a better marriage, you both must decide to forgive each other and reconcile and work it out. You can forgive, and there is no reconciliation. That happens in a lot of situations where one spouse don't care about building the marriage over, but they forgive you for it. They move on with their lives. You move on with your lives. It is what it is. That's what it is. And so it is. And for some people, they're okay with that. It's hurting. It's painful. But they just don't want to deal with the fact that you were unfaithful. And both of you guys might finally agree that separation is the best cause. Maybe down the road, you will probably reignite something. But for now, it's too hard for them to see past what you did. But if you decide to stay together, you have to be willing to work on it, work on yourself, to go through the reconciliation process. That's the only way the marriage is going to work. Do you understand the trauma, the pain, the anguish, the frustration, the damage, the hurt that you cause because of your actions? This is a very difficult thing to work through. It's not as easy as most people want you to believe. I've seen the scars and the pain that lingers years later after a spouse step out of the marriage. And like I said, some marriage won't survive it. It just won't survive. But if you decide to stay in the marriage, both of you, the offender and the offended, must take the initiative to figure out, how did you get here? And this is why you're having marital problems. Most of you don't talk about your issues. You got to communicate. You have to have a dialogue. You have got to say to your spouse, you are hurting me. The way you live your life is not helping my marriage. It's not helping who I am. You have to have conversation. Stepping out of the marriage is not the source of healing to a pain that you're already dealing with. Having an extramarital affair is not the answer to the problem. Why do you think that's the answer? Why do you think shacking up and fooling around is the answer? Why do you think stepping out of the marriage and having virtual affair is going to help you? Some of you guys are serial cheater. Oh, yes, you are. This is not just a bad situation that happened and you got caught up into your own emotions and lust and feelings. Some of you guys have this character from the moment you got, I don't even know. You've been this way. You're just dirty, nasty, and don't care. You are in no position to love if you are a serial cheater. As a matter of fact, you don't even love yourself. You don't need a husband. You don't need a wife. What you need is really to go to therapy and get help for the mess that you're in. You're messy. You're not in a position to take care of another person's vulnerability. As a matter of fact, they're worse off because you are in their lives. I'm going to tell the truth just like it is. Somebody got to say it. You can't be that way and expect that God is going to honor you. You're going to, listen, God's going to expose some of y'all for what you're doing. But if you really want to build your marriage, leave that woman alone. Leave that man alone and focus on your marriage. Go to God and ask God to forgive you, just like David did when he sinned against Uriah, when he committed murder and adultery and have a man killed because he wanted to be with his wife, the man's wife. Horrible. And in 2 Samuel chapter 12, when the prophet came to him and exposed him for what he did, David prayed and asked God to forgive him. He wrote Psalms 51 and asked God, have mercy upon me, O God, according to thy multitude of thy tender mercies. Blot out my transgression. Wash me thoroughly. Cleanse me. Make me whole. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. You have the power to change. You have the power to grow. You have the power to ask for forgiveness. You have the power to become better. But you ain't got no power to tell your spouse when to forgive you. You ain't got no power to tell your spouse just because you say, I'm sorry, and you said, forgive me for what I've done, that all of a sudden they need to just get over it and start over with you. Baby, you are in no position to negotiate anything. You need to shut your mouth and be humble about it. And don't talk about, oh, when are you going to let it go? No, she's not ready to let it go. And you should be okay with that. He's not ready to let it go, and you should be okay with that. You ought to be responsible and take the blow just like you give it while you were shacking up with somebody else. I mean, this is crazy. And some of y'all are Christian and you profess to be a child of God, and it's so easy for you to just, no, man, come on. Listen, man, listen, I give grace to people because I work with people that are going through this all the time. However, when it's easy for you to just hurt your spouse, it tells me that you have no self-control. And the Bible tells us to walk in the Spirit and we will not fulfill the lust of the flesh. You got to be disciplined. Discipline is a part of the fruit of the Spirit. It is a part of what you need to do to become the best version of yourself, to be better. You have to be disciplined. Be like Joseph. Run. Don't be like Samson that got caught with Delilah. Don't be like David. Don't be like King Solomon, the wisest man, lost the throne because of strange woman. Be humble, understand who you are, invest into your wife. Because for those of you that are investing into your wife or into your husband now that you got exposed because of your infraction with infidelity or adultery, as it's really called in the Bible, now you want to be the best husband. You could have been the best husband before. But sometimes bad situation teach you a lesson, and I pray to God that your wife or your husband will forgive you, and you both work on it and become better. But this ain't easy. This gonna be the hardest thing that you're gonna ever do in your life. And you cause it on yourself. So you got to walk in the spirit, just like Galatians chapter 5 and verse 16 tell you to do. In 1 John chapter 1 and verse 9, it says that if you confess your sins, he is faithful and he is just to forgive you of all your sins and cleanse you from all your unrighteousness. Not some, but all. Be a disciple of God. Be a man of God. Be a woman of God. Be God-centered and not flesh-centered. Well, my friends, that's it. And if this video helped you, you don't want to miss this one, because this one is going to help you, my friend. We talk about some serious things concerning adultery in this video. And before you go, you might want to click on this video. Check it out.